Have you ever watched someone who seems to glide through life with a strange sense of calm? Someone who never seems stressed about money, even though they do not earn an extraordinary salary. They appear to live like everyone else, yet somehow they keep more money, save more money, and build more freedom than the people around them. At first, you might think they have a secret trust fund or inherited wealth. But when you look closer, you realize their life is built on tiny, intentional choices. Frugality is not about painful sacrifice, living on beans and rice forever, or being a miserable cheapskate. True frugality is about making subtle shifts that create absolute financial freedom, allowing your money to align perfectly with what actually brings you joy. These are not extreme tips. They are structural changes that put you in total control of your paycheck. If you are ready to stop wondering where your money went and want to learn how to build real, quiet wealth, hit that subscribe button right now. Let us dive into the 20 frugal living tips that will ensure you always have money. Tip 1. Adopt the 10-to-1 rule. This is a financial principle that sounds extreme at first, but completely shifts your internal mindset. The rule is incredibly simple. If you make $10, try to live off of just $1. Now, obviously, a 90% savings rate is not going to happen for most people, and you do not actually have to achieve it. You might end up living on $5 or $8. But if you keep that underlying principle in your head, that you are actively trying to live on as little as possible to buy your freedom, you will fundamentally change how you view spending. You begin asking yourself what is genuinely essential and what is just background noise. Suddenly, you start viewing your income as a resource to stretch and protect, rather than something you need to instantly burn through the moment it hits your bank account. Tip 2. Live off one income. Imagine two people who earn the exact same amount. One spends every single raise, every yearly bonus, and every single dollar from their side hustle. The other treats their main salary as their absolute survival fund and treats every extra dollar as a sacred gift to their future. If you can survive on your main income and use everything else to build your future, your financial world starts to shift in ways that feel almost magical. If you are in a relationship, try living entirely off one partner's income and using the other income strictly to invest and pay off debt. If you are single, survive purely on your day job and put 100% of your side hustle money, tax refunds and bonuses directly into a high-yield savings account. Over 10 years, this one intentional habit will put your net worth completely out of reach of your peers. Tip 3. Build a strong why. Frugality without a purpose is just deprivation, and it will eventually lead to massive burnout. You cannot just cut your expenses without knowing what you are cutting them for. You need a clear emotional reason that pulls you forward when the temptation to spend arises. Maybe your why is buying back your time, so you do not have to work in a cubicle until you are 70 years old. Maybe your reason is having the absolute freedom to travel the world, or having maximum time to spend with your children while they are young. When your reason is strong enough, skipping a $40 restaurant dinner does not feel like a painful sacrifice. It feels empowering, because you know you are actively protecting your future self and funding the life you actually want to live. Tip 4. Embrace financial minimalism. Minimalism is not about sitting in an empty white room with a single spoon and one plate. It is about finally understanding that most of the things you buy bring only 5 seconds of excitement, followed by years of collecting dust in a closet. When you buy things simply to entertain your boredom or impress strangers on the internet, you are literally draining your life energy to fund a temporary illusion. When you shift from buying for status to only buying things that truly add value to your daily life, your expenses drop effortlessly. You stop bleeding money on things that do not matter, and you realize that less physical clutter directly translates to less mental stress. Financial minimalism means curating your life so that every dollar you spend actually brings a genuine return on happiness. Tip 5. Automate your savings. If you wait until the end of the month to save whatever happens to be left over, there will never be anything left over. Human nature guarantees that our spending will expand to consume whatever cash is sitting in our checking account. The absolute secret to wealth is completely removing your own willpower from the equation and putting your savings on autopilot. Set up an automatic transfer so that the exact day your paycheck hits your checking account, a set percentage, whether that is 10%, 15%, or 20%, is automatically moved to a separate savings or investment account. You essentially steal from yourself before you ever have the chance to spend it. The money is gone before you can miss it, allowing you to build massive wealth behind the scenes without any daily effort. Tip 6. Track your money. Always be knowing where every single dollar is going. Most people think they know exactly where their money goes, but almost no one actually does until they sit down and look at the brutal numbers. If you do not track your spending, you are basically operating a business completely blindfolded, hoping you turn a profit by the end of the year. Track your spending aggressively for just 1 month. You will uncover forgotten subscriptions that quietly renewed, banking fees you never noticed, and casual takeout habits that are absolutely draining your budget. Tracking is not about judging yourself or feeling guilty. It is like turning on the bright lights in a dark room. Once you clearly see the leaks in your financial ship, you finally have the power to fix them. Tip 7. Implement the waiting rule. This is one of the most powerful tools ever invented to defeat emotional and impulsive spending. When you see something you want to buy that is not a true, life or death essential, force yourself to wait. Do not rely on your self-control in the heat of the moment, because marketers are literally spending billions of dollars to override your logic. Use a strict 7-day rule for small items, a 30-day rule for medium items, and a 90-day rule for large purchases. What you will discover during this forced pause is almost magical. Most of the things you thought you desperately needed will completely fade from your mind during that waiting period, saving you thousands of dollars a year without ever feeling deprived. Tip 8. Try a no-spend challenge. One of the absolute fastest ways to break bad spending habits is to completely cut the cord for a short period of time. Try a no-spend day, a no-spend week, or even a full no-spend month where you buy absolutely nothing except true essentials like groceries, utilities, and rent. It forces you to get creative with what is already in your pantry and closet. A no-spend month acts like a total system reset for your brain. It forces you to confront exactly how often you spend money simply because you are bored, stressed, or following a routine. After a month of intentional spending discipline, your cravings shift, and you return to your normal life with a much calmer mind and a significantly thicker wallet. Tip 9. Use bulk cooking. Food is a massive monthly expense for almost every single family, but it is also one of the easiest categories to completely control. Cooking in bulk might be the closest thing to a literal superpower in the world of frugal living. When you plan your meals, cook massive batches of food a few times a week, and freeze the leftovers, you destroy the single biggest money leak in your budget. Most people order $30 food delivery because they are too exhausted to chop vegetables after a long day at work, not because they actually want restaurant food. Having an incredible meal already waiting for you in the freezer eliminates that massive temptation entirely. You save money, save time, and completely remove the stress of deciding what is for dinner. Tip 10. Change where you shop. Grocery stores can vary massively in price, even when they are selling the exact same items. Sometimes the difference is 30 to 50%, simply because of the sign hanging on the front of the building. Taking the time to compare your local options and switching to a more affordable grocery store is one of the easiest ways to save hundreds of dollars a month without changing your actual diet. Furthermore, you must stop falling for the name brand scam. Generic store brands are frequently made in the exact same manufacturing facilities as the expensive name brands, just with a different, cheaper label slapped on the front. By dropping the loyalty to fancy marketing and switching to generic items, you can slash your weekly grocery bill instantly. Tip 11. Never shop hungry. This sounds incredibly simple, almost like a joke, but it is a massive psychological trap that ruins budgets every single day. Shopping on an empty stomach is one of the absolute fastest ways to drive your carefully planned grocery budget right off a cliff. When your blood sugar drops, your brain shifts into an impulsive survival mode. Hunger makes every unnecessary, expensive, highly processed snack in the middle aisles look like a brilliant, necessary idea. You will end up with a cart full of chips, cookies, and pre-made meals you never intended to buy. Eat a full, satisfying meal before you walk through the sliding doors of any grocery store, and your bank account will thank you. Tip 12. Stop paying for drinks. Buying drinks is the silent, invisible killer of modern wealth. Bottled water, daily coffee shop runs, and alcoholic beverages at restaurants carry the absolute highest profit margins of any consumer good in the world. Businesses love selling you liquids because the markup is astronomically high, often reaching several 100%. Buying a $3 bottle of water or a $6 iced coffee every single day easily adds up to thousands of dollars over a year. Buy a high-quality reusable water bottle, learn how to make incredible coffee in your own kitchen, and stick to tap water when you go out to eat. You will save a fortune over your lifetime without missing anything meaningful. Tip 13. Join a Buy Nothing group. Imagine needing a specific tool, like a tall ladder, a power drill, or a piece of baby equipment that you will realistically only use for a few weeks. Instead of driving to the hardware store and spending hard-earned cash on something that will eventually collect dust, you can look to your own local community. Join a local Buy Nothing group or a community sharing network online. Neighbors literally let each other borrow or permanently take items they no longer need for absolutely $0. It is a brilliant, entirely free ecosystem where spending becomes optional, environmental waste is reduced, and you build real relationships with the people living on your street. Tip 14. Repair before you replace. We live in an exhausting culture of constant, relentless upgrades. People replace their perfectly fine phones, their laptops, and their cars simply because a slightly newer model exists, convincing themselves that the old one is suddenly obsolete. But true frugality means rejecting that culture and shifting your personal identity from an endless consumer to a responsible caretaker. Learn how to sew a missing button back onto your favorite shirt. Pay a small fee to replace a dying battery in your electronics instead of buying a new device, and keep up with your vehicle's basic maintenance. Challenge yourself to use the items you own until they genuinely fail and absolutely cannot be fixed. This mindset alone saves tens of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. Tip 15. Invest in quality. Many people falsely believe that frugality means buying the absolute cheapest, flimsiest version of everything on the shelf. This is one of the biggest traps you can fall into. Buying a $40 winter jacket that completely falls apart in 6 months is mathematically much more expensive than buying a $200 jacket that easily lasts for 10 solid years. This is the brilliant concept known as cost per use. When you invest a little more money up front into a highly durable, well-crafted item that endures for a decade, your long-term spending actually drops significantly. Stop looking purely at the initial price tag and start investing in undeniable quality for the items you must use every single day. Tip 16. Learn basic do-it-yourself skills. You absolutely do not need to become a master carpenter or a licensed electrician to benefit from this, but learning basic home and auto maintenance saves an unbelievable amount of cash. Most minor household problems look much scarier than they actually are, and modern technology makes learning the solutions incredibly accessible. Watch a quick, free YouTube tutorial to learn how to unclog a bathroom drain, change your car's oil, patch a small hole in the drywall, or fix a constantly running toilet. A professional plumber might charge you $150 to $300 just to pull into your driveway. Learning a 15-minute skill keeps all of that hard-earned cash safely in your pocket. Tip 17. Negotiate your bills. Here is something most people completely fail to realize. The price you are currently paying for many monthly services is almost never fixed. Your internet provider, your cell phone plan, and your car insurance premiums continuously creep upward year after year, simply because these massive companies assume you will be too lazy to check your statements. Spend exactly 1 hour calling your providers to ask for a better rate, a hidden loyalty discount, or to politely inform them you are switching to a cheaper competitor. Spending 60 minutes on the phone to instantly save $500 a year is mathematically the best hourly wage you will ever earn in your entire life. Tip 18. Avoid fees at all costs. Bank maintenance fees, ridiculous overdraft charges, late payment penalties, and out-of-network ATM fees are massive money leaks in disguise. They are stealth taxes on being disorganized, and they offer you absolutely zero value in return. If you do not track your money consistently, these tiny charges camouflage themselves in your statements and steal hundreds of dollars a year. Switch your money to a completely fee-free online bank account immediately. Set up automatic payments to guarantee you are never charged a late fee on a credit card or utility bill. Plan your cash needs ahead of time so you never have to use an expensive ATM. Eliminating these predatory fees is one of the easiest, most satisfying frugal wins in existence. Tip 19. House hack or downsize. Housing is the single largest expense for the vast majority of people, often eating up an agonizing 30 to 40% of their gross income. Because it is such a massive chunk of your budget, even a small structural change here creates explosive financial results. If you can control your housing costs, you automatically win the financial game. Consider house hacking, which means buying a duplex, living in one unit, and renting out the other to completely cover your monthly mortgage. If that is not an option, simply swallow your pride and move to a smaller, much more affordable apartment. When you drastically shrink your largest monthly expense, every other financial goal you have becomes incredibly easy to achieve. Tip 20. Pay your mortgage twice a month. If you currently own a home, this simple mathematical trick is absolutely life-changing. Instead of making one massive, full mortgage payment at the end of the month, split your normal payment exactly in half and pay it every 2 weeks. You are not paying any extra money out of pocket. You are simply changing the timing. Because of the way compound interest is calculated on massive loans, paying bi-weekly reduces your core principal much faster. Over the course of a standard 30-year loan, this simple structural shift can easily save you tens of thousands of dollars in pure interest, and it will shave multiple years off your repayment timeline without you feeling a single pinch in your budget. The foundation of freedom. At the end of the day, living frugally is not about restriction, suffering, or missing out on the best parts of life. It is about finally seeing your life with clear eyes and realizing that every dollar you keep, every unnecessary purchase you avoid, and every daily habit you shift becomes a solid brick in the permanent foundation of your freedom. These small, boring choices, when repeated consistently over months and years, compound into massive financial control. You are no longer working just to pay the bills. You are building an untouchable safety net. If you are ready to make your money listen to you, instead of the other way around, hit that subscribe button right now and join our community.